To sew our pencil skirt, I'll be placing the pattern on the fabric I'll be working on. Now, to learn how to cut this pattern, I've made a video on how to cut a pencil skirt pattern like this. So you can check the description of this video or check the one of my previous videos. I think it's actually the last video before this. Add ½ inch of sewing allowance at the upper part, 1 inch sewing allowance at the down part. Now adding 1 inch sewing allowance at the down part because I'll be deducting 1 inch from my lining. You understand this while we're at it. Now I'm also adding 2 inches of sewing allowance by the side. You can decide to add ½ inch sewing allowance, 1 inch sewing allowance. It's just depending on you, but I choose to use 2 inch sewing allowance. Now you want to connect your sewing allowance like you see me do. Connect the sewing allowance of the waist, connect the one at the hem, connect at the center side of your cloth as well. Cut this out. Once you are done cutting this out, then your front pattern is ready. You also want to go ahead and add your sewing allowances at the back as well. You can see me, I've added ½ inch at the waist part. I added my 1 inch at the hem of the skirt, added 2 inches at the sides of the back as well. Now my skirt needs to be fitted, and this is what you should do to avoid making a boring skirt. Make pencil skirts with bolt contour. From the zip part at the upper part, come down by 7 inches. The upper part as well, go in by ½ inch. Connect from that ½ inch mark to the 7 inches mark. From the hem of your skirt, go up by 7 inches. Go in by ½ inch at the hem of your skirt and also at the 7 inch mark. Now you want to connect like so, and also connect from the hip part to the 7 inch mark downwards. Now you want to cut this out to give your skirt more fitting, especially at the back. This is called bolt contouring. I've cut the lining for the front and the back skirts. Like you can see from the video, I deducted 1 inch from the length of the skirt at the hem part. Remember the 1 inch we added at the hem of the fabric itself? This will augment for it when it's time for sewing. For the back as well, place your fabric on your lining, then you cut out the exact measurement at first. Once you are done cutting out that exact shape, then you go ahead and deduct 1 inch from the hem, just like we did at the front as well. Now you take your front pattern again. Now we are going to be imputing our dart. To impute the dart, firstly iron the middle part of your fabric so you can create a crease line. Then you notch the middle. This will help you once you are doing your dart to take a perfect dart measurement. Notch the fabric, notch the lining as well. For me, I went ahead, I ironed the fabric folded so that I can have a crease line. I did the same thing for the lining. I did the same thing for the fabric as well. So now we've achieved our crease line. Now from the middle point, you want to go in by 4 inch. Now from that middle part, come down by 5 inch, taking cognizance of that 1 inch we deducted when we were cutting our front skirt pattern. Remember that 1 inch we took out. Now you have to take cognizance of it. Where you have that 5 inch mark, also mark your 4 inch. Now we are doing all this to achieve a straight leg, a straight dart leg, so your dart does not look funny when after holding it. Now when you've created that 1 inch straight mark, come in by ½ inch by the two sides. Now you are using this to create how you be holding your dart. I'm actually explaining this so that if it's your first time you want to hold a dart, or it's your first time making a skirt, this method should help you get your darts with ease. Now this same thing I did, you want to go ahead and repeat the same thing on the other side of your skirt. You know, we'll be holding our dart in two sides. So I've gone ahead to sew my darts, and this is what it looks like at the front. Very neat. You want to make sure that your dart end leg is very, very okay when you are done sewing, so it does not create a bulge at the front when you are done sewing. I've gone ahead as well to repeat the same method on the lining. The reason why I'm doing this separately on the fabric and separately on the lining is because I want to achieve a neat finish. It gives your outfit, whenever you sew this way, it gives your outfit a neat finish, and people will even admire the inner wear before they admire the outer wear. And it's really, really beautiful when you're done sewing. If you can take out your time to sew like this, it's stressful, but it's very, very good. Now we'll couple the fabric and the lining for the front together now. So you place the front side, the right side of the fabric facing the right side of the lining, then adjust it at the hem part to be even. Now after adjusting this, now you'll be sewing it down by 1/2 inch. So I'll go ahead and sew this now and show you what it looks like once I'm done. So I've sewn it down by 1/2 inch, and now this is what you should have once you're done. Adjust it upwards like you see me do, and sew by the sides as well by 1/2 inch. Repeat the same thing at the other side of the half and bring it out from the upper part. Now I've done this, and this is what I have. You can go ahead now and iron it out so that the shape of the skirt can come out, and you can couple it as well with ease. To start sewing our back, we'll start by holding in the dart as well. Now we'll be coming in by 5 inches, taking cognizance of the 1 inch zipper allowance. Remember, we are coming in from the zipper allowance, which is the middle part of the skirt. Because our skirt is divided into two, that's why it's looking this way. The back side of the skirt is divided into two. So we'll be coming in by 5 inch. Then from the upper part, you go down by 6 inches to hold your dart. Repeat the same method we did for the front. Repeat it at the back part, which means you'll be holding the dart on your lining separately and holding it on the fabric as well separately. Now you want to place the right side of your fabric facing the right side of your lining, just like we did for the front. Sew it down by 1/2 inch. Pull it down like you see me do, then sew it down by 1/2 inch as well. Once you're done sewing, you drag it up so it can align with the upper part as well. Sew it down by the two sides, then bring it out from the upper part. Now this is what it looks like once you're done. I'll go ahead now to cut the band I need for the skirt. My band width is 1.5, but since I'll be folding it into two, I cut 3 inches, which means by the time I fold my 3 inches band into two, I'll be left with 1.5 inch as my band width. You want to also cut an interface for this. This will help the skirt to have like a structure at the waist part. Go ahead and iron this interface at the wrong side of your fabric. Once you're done, you should have something like this. Now this is the band for the front. To know the exact length you'll be cutting for the band, you measure the waist part of the fabric. The waist part of the fabric to know what you'll be cutting. You measure the waist part. Once you're done, you cut it out. So your band length will be determined by the waist measurement for the front, then also for the measurement you have at the back as well. Now you'll be sewing it down by 1/2 inch at the two sides, like you've seen me do. You sew down by 1/2 inch on the two sides, then you turn it out. Once you turn it out, you sew it to the waist part. You sew this band to the waist part of your skirt. Now this is what you should have after joining the band to the skirt. This is the front part. This is how my band looks on the front part of the skirt. Now we'll be adding the two backs together because we want to add our zip. Now for short zips like this, it can only give you a length of 6.5 or 7 inches max. So you want to open it up by 7 inches where you'll be imputing your zip, and at the hem as well, you open it up by 6 inches. 6 inches is perfect, but if you want to go ahead, you can make it 7 inches, but 6 inches looks modest. Remember our zip allowance is 1 inch, and we've used ½ inch to sew the fabric and the lining together, so which means we have just ½ inch left to hold our zip by. So now you can pin down your zip before going to your machine to sew. From that 7 inches mark we opened, that's where you start pinning down your zip. So you sew your zip down by ½ inch to the fabric. Now we'll be coupling the front and the back together. Before we do that, place the right side of your front and the right side of your back together, facing each other. You can pin this out so that you can take out your measurements. For your measurements, you want to measure where your hips is going to be. Mine is from the waist to 7 inches. So 7 inches, at the point where 7 inches is where I'll be imputing my hips measurement. Now to impute our measurements, I'll go ahead and divide my waist circumference by 2. Impute my answer, and whatever it is I have left, I divide it by 2. I'll be using it at the right side and at the other side of the fabric. Repeat the same thing at the hips. Divide your hip circumference by 2. Impute your answer, and as well divide what you have left by 2, your sewing allowance by 2. Impute your hem circumference as well. Mine is 41. I divided it by 2, and the remaining sewing allowance I divided it by 2 as well, and imputed it on each side of the fabric. You want to go ahead and connect from the waist to the hips, connect from the hips as well to the hem of the skirt. This is all you need to make your fitted pencil skirt. If this video has been valuable to you, please give this video a thumbs up. Comment if you have any questions for me, and I'm going to answer you. Also, please like and subscribe. You can also turn on the notification bell so that you'll be notified whenever I post a new video. Thank you, and see you on my next video.